Welcome to the Sailor Noob podcast, where a superfan and a noob talk about the original Sailor Moon episode by episode. I'm your host, Mika Hana, joined by my co-host.
I'm the co-host, Caliban. I'm also the noob. And Mika.
Yes?
Is the water warm enough?
Oh my god, I don't even know what to say to that.
Shall we begin?
Yes. We're a couple of magical people ready to moon cosmic power and make up this episode. Oh my god, I'm still laughing about that. Today we are talking about episode number 120. Ichigen Kara no Shinraku, Mugen Gakuen no Nazo in Japanese, An Invasion from Another Dimension, Mystery of Infinity Academy, the English translation, and the English title, Next in Line.
Next in line.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? Next
it's not even a song.
No, but it's not. You're right. And now they're doing it because, look, I'm not. I'll be ready to talk about it when we get there. But they're just giving things away, or at least they're like heavily, implying. So why not just call it? Yeah, there's going to be another one next week. Like call it. It's just so. But we'll get there.
Yes.
We'll definitely get there.
But before we do that, would you like to give us...
no pitter-patter, getting right into it.
Well,
all right.
We can do some pitter-patter.
No, I don't think... How you doing?
I'm doing good.
All right, let's get into it.
All right. You are going to give us an update as to what you thought was going to happen next.
I did. And other than, I think that I've earned the audience's trust at this point.
I think so.
Hopefully. My name isn't really Cal.
Oh no!
They're all fooled. But we could have recorded this beforehand and then dropped it in. But these are my notes and impressions done before I watched the episode we're going to talk about today.
Okay, got it.
I don't say that because they're amazingly spot on prediction wise. I just want people to know that this is completely my impressions of what's happening, after watching over 20 episodes of this season that is definitely heading to an end. But
yes.
Yeah, it's time once again to look at what I think is going on here.
Yes.
We talk specifically, this episode's title specifically talks about an invasion from another dimension. So I'm guessing in the future, there will be an invasion from another dimension. I was thinking about that. I come from the world of Star Trek.
Yes.
Star Trek, usually that means a mirror dimension or a mirror universe.
Oh, sure.
So I wonder if in another universe we'll see alternate versions of our main characters. Speaking of Doctor Strange.
Yes.
So popular right now.
Yes.
And Sailor Moon was doing it 30 years ago.
There you go.
So we'll see. Oh my God, there's 5 witches.
Yeah.
And there are 5 Sailor Senshi.
That's true.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Speaking of witches, I think that there isn't enough time left, so we're going to see the next witches that we see, they're going to come out gradually or together. They'll do a thing where they'll go, here's another one, then they'll go, and then here's the rest.
Right.
I think they're all just going to come out. If they're going to do 5 witches, that seems to be what they've promised us.
Yes.
We spent a lot of time with just 4, though.
Yes.
And we spent a lot of time with 5 initially, so...
Yeah.
That's what I think about that. What's happening on the Hotaru front? I think that Hotaru will... it'll be one of those things that you get a lot in anime where the bad guy will accomplish everything that they wanted, but the good guys will find a way to win anyway.
Okay.
And I know it'd be anticlimactic if you tell everybody there's a bomb and the bomb never goes off. It's like a Hitchcockian thing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to create tension, but we want to see an explosion.
Right.
So to promise that if Gabriel Burns gets Satan into what's her name?
Yeah.
Robin Tunney at midnight on New Year's Eve, 1999.
Right.
All hell's going to break loose. We got to stop that from happening.
Yes.
And then it happens, but Arnold Schwarzenegger wins anyway.
Right.
Why am I talking about End of Days?
I don't know.
I was thinking about End of Days earlier today for some reason. Earlier today.
Gotcha.
So I think that Hotaru will awaken as the Messiah of Silence. But the X factor is Chibi's friendship. Because of her friendship, that's going to be the thing that helps her break free or turn against it or
Okay.
awaken her true nature, whatever.
Okay.
Because Chibi's the one that's really like been on her side 100% this whole time.
Yes.
Even though everybody's like,
That's true.
She's the Antichrist. It's like, no.
No, she's not.
I think that more about Dr. G, I think that it will be revealed that he is a scientist, like a genetic scientist.
Mm-hmm.
And that he, that his wife died tragically somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's part of his motivation.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's kind of an anime thing.
Yeah.
What else? Throwing things around. Kaori.
Yes.
Kaori is a clone
Okay.
of the original Kaori.
Oh, okay.
And maybe she was a clone herself.
Okay,
I don't know.
possibilities.
Whenever you she once gets too uppity, you just hit the trap door and then get yourself into a Kaori.
Okay, all right.
I'm still stuck on this, like, because they talk about like two messiahs.
Yeah.
And we've got one now. It's possible that Hotaru has the potential to be either the good or the bad messiah, but I'm still holding on to this. Usagi is always the key to these things, so I think that Usagi is the good messiah and might be the recipient of power or get the power instead. Near the end of this thing, possibly involving another resurrection.
Okay.
Her threshold tends to be, I'm dead. Okay. And then like, whoop, nope. Oh, no, I've got more power and I'm alive again.
I'm alive somehow. Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm sensing, I think that, the final confrontation will take place in like an arena or a coliseum.
Okay.
That's what I'm feeling.
All right.
I feel
something
like,
big.
something a showdown, a real face-off.
Okay. A real face-off. Nice.
Not like a,
No.
face-off,
No.
but yeah. PG for kids.
Right.
Can you think of anything else that I should comment on? Because that's all, we're getting near the end here.
I think you commented on like all the big things, honestly, for this season, unless you think there's anything else that like the outer Senshi are going to be doing.
Oh yeah. What's the fate of the outer Senshi? Merchandising potential.
Merchandising potential.
They're not going anywhere. Plus, when you already kill two of them, like, they'll be fine. But like Pluto might go back to the future. What about Chibi, though? Does she hang around or go back to the future? I think that Pluto will go back to the future.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It'd be weird or maybe you have to say goodbye to your friend after you save her life. I don't know. I think Chibi's going to hang around.
Okay.
There's got to be some more Chibi, right?
Yeah.
Can't get rid of her this soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good?
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's good.
All right. Forget all of those. Nobody write those down. I'm sure they're going to be wrong. But that's okay. If anybody's listening, we know one person is listening. We have a new patron, a new inner Senshi.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Welcome to the squad, Megabust 999. I can't make it up. I can't make these up.
You can't.
No. So yeah, we appreciate you joining the squad.
Yeah. Thank you for joining the squad. We really appreciate it.
And hopefully you're enjoying our extended content. Our additional podcasts that are going on at patreon.com/Sailor Noob. We've just returned to our anime edifying ways.
Yes.
And talking about Yuri on Ice.
Yes.
Which I was excited to get a chance to finally watch. Heard a lot about it. A very good-looking anime.
Yes. It is a good-looking anime.
And coming up on the show, we're talking about...
Kids on the Slope.
Kids on the Slope!
Yeah.
Shinichiro Watanabe.
Yeah.
But
mappa.
no jazz. Well, maybe a little jazz. Because Yoko Kanno's involved.
Yeah. So that should be good.
Steve Bloom do the English dub.
Oh, that would be funny.
There's a lot of kids on this slope. Why are all these kids on this slope?
Oh my goodness.
Get off of this slope, you kids. That's like, I think that's Casey Kasem from last week.
It might be Casey
And
Kasem.
number 4, kids on the slope. You got a dead dog and these kids on a slope?
I mean, Bloom does a lot of voiceovers, so I wouldn't be surprised.
He does so much stuff.
Yeah.
And it's weird that I was like introduced to him. What did he do? He's done it a couple times, but Wolverine, I think, is the first time that I heard him do anything, right?
Okay,
Did Wolverine
sure.
for something or other. A couple times he's done it.
Sure.
And then also Spike Spiegel, but I always just think of because sometimes like you'll play a video game and he's like second soldier to the right, it's just like,
Sure.
I don't see him anywhere. It's like, oh boy.
Steve Bloom's here.
Wolverine can't find me.
Yeah. Thank you again for becoming a patron, Megabus999, and we hope that you... Why are you laughing?
The internet's a funny place, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Isn't it, Mikan Hana?
It is, Caliban.
Is the water warm enough?
It is Caliban.
Shall we begin?
Yes. Would you like to, speaking of beginning, would you like to give us a breakdown of what happens in today's episode?
I will. Did this feel like a longer episode than usual?
It did. I think
usually
a lot
don't
happened.
Look at the minute count, but I feel like if they might have squeezed a little extra out of this to the point where we just go title card, hit the ground running.
Yeah, there you go.
Literally, we see a vision of a girl running in the rain. Mm-hmm. It's Chibi, and she's running to the Hotaru household, or the Tomoe household. Mm-hmm. And as she does, we see flashbacks of Haruka, Michiru, and Setsuna saying that if Hotaru awakens, it's curtains for Earth.
Yeah.
You know, Hotaru,
yes.
the little demon girl who's the messiah of death who lives in the haunted house that Chibi is running to alone currently.
I know.
Maybe a kid can take the train to school, but Japan is taking this old enough thing too far, I think. I'm old enough to fight Satan myself. Chibi throws open the front doors of the house and rushes to Hotaru's room. I'm just thinking, like, what if the lion from Africa was still there?
Oh, that would be terrifying.
She opens the door. He's just chilling out, reading a teen beat. Listening to some world music. Oh, yeah, what's up? But he's not there. In fact, nothing is there. Chibi imagines for a moment that she sees her friend, but in reality, the room is empty. Mm-hmm. This is too much for Chibi, and she starts to cry, but she feels a hand on her shoulder, and she spins around, and it's Setsuna. Jeez!
Yeah, I know.
Chibi says, "Where did you take her?" But Setsuna says, "No, she was gone when I got here." Chibi says, "You're lying! Hotaru wouldn't leave without telling me. That's all your fault!" Mm-hmm. She does not draw her gun. But this kid's armed.
Yeah,
talking about
that's
old
true.
enough.
Yeah.
But she does say, "I hate you, Pooh!" And Setsuna can only hold her. Held by Pooh.
Held by Pooh.
On the street, we see the rain continue to fall. And at someone's place?
It's at Mamoru's, I'm pretty sure.
It can't be. It's not a high-rise.
I swear it is, though, because
it's just specifically a street with, like, 2-level townhomes. I was thinking, like, Makoto's place, maybe?
But Mamoru seems camped out there.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, but
unless
I guess
he's
it has
got,
a
like,
laptop.
multiple properties.
Yeah, that's
which
true,
is possible.
too.
Or maybe Minako's house.
Yeah.
And no, there'd be more fish eggs and food wrappers and stuff lying around. Anyway, the Senshi, Mamoru, and the cats are trying to organize their clues. And it doesn't take long because they don't have any.
Yeah.
Mamoru is furiously on the computer asking Jeeves what they should do. No Google back then. Couldn't Google anything. And he's looking for information on Professor Tomoe in the Academic Society's files. Mm-hmm. Something they probably should have done weeks ago. But
probably.
It's a little iffy as to, like, who knew what name. Or even if you find out that Hotaru has a professor father, you go, oh, guess I'll just Lycos that or something.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. He gets a hit. Yes. Soichi Tomoe, genetic engineer, professor at Mugen Academy, which Luna tells us is the school that Haruka and Michiru attend. Mm-hmm. And Setsuna, too? Is she a teenager or an adult?
So,
does she have a job or does she stalk full time?
I think she's like a college student.
That's her cover? Or is she really taking, she's like, guys, I got to finish. I got 4 more years.
Well, it's really confusing because, like, in the manga, I have to reread the manga. I think, like, she's either a student or she works there. She has, like, a job there. So I don't know if she's, like, a student worker or, like, she has a job
in the cafeteria or something like that.
Well, like, she has like she's a scientist, so she has like a lab coat.
Wait, she's a scientist? What?
Yes, she's a scientist. It's in the manga.
Okay, this information has not been communicated. Not canon. It's also the school that Hotaru attends.
Yes.
So they study convenience, I guess. It's a school for the gifted, actually, with a unified curriculum. So everybody learns the same thing from preschool up to, college prep or college level. Mm-hmm. So it's like a private school.
Yes.
And it's in a skyscraper, and they have all the latest equipment. Mamoru says, get this, Professor Tomoe is the owner of Mugen Academy. He liked teaching so much, he bought the company. And the group agrees that they need to check this academy out. And at this point, Setsuna arrives with Chibi, and Usagi's like, you're 6 years old. You know better than to go out at this hour without an umbrella. Did you get my smokes? But Chibi is pissed.
Oh my God, I know.
And Mamo senses it. It's like, we're not doing any fun right now.
Yeah.
He waves Usagi off before she gets a pig sugar heart attack in the face. He thanks Setsuna for bringing Chibi home, but he's got a few questions for her about this academy. Start talking, Pooh.
Yeah, that's right.
Setsuna tells them that the academy was started 3 years ago, and Uranus and Neptune became suspicious when strange things started to occur. So they enrolled as students. She says that Professor Tomoe is one of the Death Busters, but as for Hotaru, we don't know. We do know that Hotaru is the reincarnation of Sailor Saturn, and Chibi says grimly, she could never be our enemy. Don't do it! Don't kill her!
Yeah.
Usagi says, even if Hotaru is the guardian of destruction, she's a sailor like us. Isn't there some other way? Setsuna thinks for a bit and says, this is why we didn't want you involved. Not like, I understand your concern, or maybe you're right. She's like, yeah, this is why we didn't tell you about this. Because I don't want to kill anybody.
Oh, your emotions.
All that human empathy.
Do-gooding and everything.
Scream. In the basement lab, the phone rings and Dr. Giggles picks it up. On the other end is Mimete, and she says she's found the next target, an expert on subspace physics, Sergei Asimov, and he's giving a lecture today at the Mugen Academy. Dr. G says, universes in an alternate dimension. Yes, a fascinating theory. But I have no plans to take action at this time. Mimete says, but he has very austere good looks. Dr. G says, I'll be in touch. And Mimete says, okay, you let me know, and hangs up. Mimete turns on the stereo, puts on some headphones. Back in Dr. G's lab, we see what looks like a receiver taped to the bottom of his work table. Dr. G says to a blonde lab-coated woman, it's time to move, Telu. She tries hard, but she hasn't gotten results. It's your turn. And we see in the witch's lab, Mimette's eyes narrow. She's listening in on Dr. G.
Yep.
Dr. G continues, if you do well, you'll be the next chief officer. At this, Mimete throws everything off her desk. She's pissed.
Yes.
Telu leaves, but Dr. G calls her on her phone later in her office and says, sorry for calling again, but I'm canceling our plan. Stand by for now, won't you please? I'll be in touch. And we cut to Dr. G, but it's not Dr. G.
Yes.
It's Mimete using a voice changer.
I know.
Telu says to herself, won't you please?
Would you kindly?
And Mimete says,
Polite.
the next chief officer of the Death Busters will be me. I'll get rid of the Sailor Guardians and show how powerful I am. She looks to a nearby corkboard, and among the pictures of hot targets is a picture of Udile.
I know.
Hotaru.
I know.
With a mustache and snail antenna drawn on it. Mimete says, sorry, Udile, but I'm going to have to borrow a device you created. Okay? Udile says nothing because she's dead.
I know.
We cut to Mugen Academy where we see the Academy logo above its door, a star with an infinity symbol within it. Not hiding anything here.
No.
The lecture is today, and the Sailor Senshi are gathered outside in their civilian guises. Ray says, I sense an evil aura here. Thanks, Ray. And Luna says, there's a special lecturer today, so anybody can get in. Let's go. Back at Mamoru's condo, it is at his condo this time, I think.
Okay.
He continues to ask Jeeves, or maybe he's using, maybe Gopher.
Gopher?
Yeah.
Is that another? I know. I'm not familiar with
It was created
Gopher.
by a researcher at the University of Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
And it's a program basically designed to search academic databases, like what they had
I see.
that was searchable back then in the very early days of the internet.
Okay.
So that's called Gopher.
All right. That
Anyway,
makes sense.
he's gophering and he finds an article from 4 years ago that reports on a huge fire at a genetic engineering lab. The entire staff died except for Professor Tomoe and his daughter, who were unharmed. Mamoru thinks about this while he checks on the sleeping Chibi, and he remembers what she said about Hotaru, that she's a kind girl. If a little strange and unusual. Inside Mugen Academy, the girls are sneaking around, even though they're ostensibly allowed to be inside. Maybe not this part.
Yeah.
But there's no one there.
Mm-hmm.
And Ami says, let's go to the computer room. We can use InfoSeek to find information. I'm running out of old search engines at this point. Stop looking for things, everyone. They're all leaning around the corner like the Scooby Gang.
Yes.
And as they are. And it's funny because they're like, Makoto's the tallest, so she's on top.
Yes.
And then I think it's like Ray, and then Ami's in the middle. She's the heart of the team.
Yeah.
And then on either side, the blondes.
Yes.
And then the cat's in the bottom. It's perfect. Somebody pokes Usagi in the butt. She's like, stop it, Mako-chan. Which raises a lot of questions for me personally.
Okay.
But we'll just move on.
All right.
But she gets poked again and says, knock it off. But we see it's not Mako. It's a huge security guard with a nightstick.
Yes.
The girls are like, ah! And the guard says, what are you doing here? Mako says, we couldn't find the auditorium. He says, it's over that way. And the girls head off, but he says, wait, you forgot something. And it's Usagi who says, I can't get up.
I know.
Later, Ray is yelling at Usagi for being an embarrassment. Hey, security guards are scary.
That's right.
Plus, he's not a monster. He's just a human. They could murder him if he's a monster. But killing people has real consequences.
That's right.
Anime rules.
Yes.
Do you have a tail? Just a normal guy with a gun? I don't know. As they walk, they are passed by Mimete in her disguise outfit.
I know.
Which, at this point,
They should know.
This lady's been hanging around all these disasters. These
Yes.
famous people disappearing.
Her big glasses and her kerchief.
Well,
Yeah.
the big glass kerchiefed woman is carrying a huge sack, and she walks right by the guard who says, hey, wait. But Mimete says, oh, I'm no one suspicious. But the guard is like, no, you're suspicious.
I know.
Let me see in that bag. And they start a tug of war over her star case. But she shocks him with a homemade taser, and he falls to the ground.
I know.
Screw consequences. I'm evil. From a nearby hallway, we see Telu watching all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And she appears to disappear.
Mm-hmm.
Peace out. In the auditorium, Dr. Asimov is giving his lecture in shades.
Mm-hmm.
Turns the chair around. You know, science can be really cool, but no cooler than absolute zero. He's talking about the plausibility of parallel dimensions. He says, take this tiny nebula. And on the screen behind him, there's like a giant video wall.
Yes.
A nebula appears between his outstretched hands, which I assume this is just like an effect, a fun thing for the thing.
I think so.
He's not talking about like an actual... I have this pocket universe here. Okay,
Yeah.
good. It's not clear, but a UFO invaded this town last year, so who knows?
Yeah, very
Who knows what people are willing to put up with?
Yeah.
He says, there could be life forms living here, just outside of our universe. No, that's not Carl Sagan. I don't know what Isaac Asimov sounds like.
I have no idea.
As he talks, we see the Senshi prowling around the halls outside the auditorium. We see Minako and Usagi running through the lobby past a huge fountain, which Usagi stops to stare at, and Minako has to double back and pull her along.
Because of course she does.
In a nice bit of continuity. In the next shot, Minako is glaring at Usagi, who's sticking out her tongue at Minako, as they pass a door that says, Master Control Room, off limits. Inside are Haruka and Michiru, who say, lucky for us, the staff loves learning, so we can get access here. How does that get you access here?
Like
Did you offer them Skillshare memberships?
No, I think
they love learning? What are you talking about?
I think they mean they wanted to go to the lecture, so they weren't in the security office, so they could go into the security office themselves.
So the staff. Oh, okay. All right.
Right?
Yeah, I guess. So the staff's like, normally I would be up here making sure that everything's recording and changing the lights up and, fading from camera 1, camera 2.
You got it.
I got to hear about these alternate universes.
And I got to be in that auditorium.
From Dr. Asimov.
Yeah.
No, leave the door unlocked. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, that makes just about as much sense as me thinking that they're really good students. Look, I got away with a lot in high school because I was a quote-unquote good kid.
Okay.
So I was doing things all the time.
Okay.
No, I don't know what the statute of limitations is. No confessions here. And people are like, oh, no, it wasn't him.
He's a good kid.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
They'll never find the body. Haruka's using the computer, Alta Vista, let's say.
Oh my gosh.
To look for the entrance to the Deathbuster's lair, but it's not easy. The door opens, and in comes Setsuna, who says, the other Senshi girls are sneaking around out there. We cut to the basement lab where Dr. G is watching the lecture, and Dr. A says, "My conjecture is that an alternate universe may be a life form in itself." And Dr. G likes this. He's laughing like he's watching comic strip live.
Yes.
That's contemporary for the time. Whoa, Kevin Pollak's doing his Christopher Walken impression.
Oh my God.
Dr. G walks over to the Misty Globe and says, "It's time for our lovely universe to swallow the Milky Way." Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Actually, Swallowing the Milky Way is the movie that Misty Globes was in, I think.
Oh, is that right?
Did you know that the Seinfeld episode, The Contest, was rated TVG?
No.
The episode that is explicitly
Really?
about masturbation, except it's not explicitly about masturbation. It's implicitly about masturbation.
That's true.
And they never say anything directly. So
that's so
therefore,
funny.
it is not explicit, which is why this show does not have an explicit tag. Even though I could talk about Misty Globe.
But are you still master of your domain?
Dr. G laughs evilly, and we cut quick to Club Silencio.
No, I banda.
Where Hotaru lies slumped among her stuffed animal army. Minus the Gaga the teddy bear, who was dearly departed.
Yes.
Gaga, cute name.
Hotaru is dreaming, and in her dream, she is calling for her papa. We see her as a little girl, face pressed against the glass of a chamber in Professor Tomoe's lab. We see the professor there, too, with two good eyes. The professor says to his assembled staff, "I have prepared a special space for our genetic modification experiments." And on the other side of the glass, we see a chamber containing a sphere hooked up to all kinds of sci-fi apparati. As Hotaru watches, a star-filled void begins to expand within the sphere. But before anybody can react, or this little kid says anything, like, "Hey," or "pretty,"
Right.
to anything, the sphere explodes and devastates the lab. We see the professor holding Hotaru's lifeless body among the rubble. He screams in grief and frustration. Suddenly a voice says,
"Do you want to save her life?"
And a bright globe of light descends from the ceiling. The voice says,
"I'll do it on one condition. I'll take your bodies."
The professor says, "I don't care what happens to me. Do it!" And the light descends and seems to enter his right eye.
Yes.
The lab finishes exploding, I guess.
I guess.
We cut to the outside and there's another explosion. And we see Hotaru in the present wince fretfully as she dreams. We also see Dr. G, his right eye flashing as he says, "Awaken! Our true objective awaits!" Back in the auditorium, Dr. A says, "Now let's talk about the structure of our alternate universe." But just then, the lights go out. A single spot illuminates the foot of the stage as evil acrobat Mimete emerges from the floor, saying, "Sorry, everyone, but the professor will be leaving. I love the spotlight. I'm not letting Telu steal my thrill. Charm Buster!" She shoots stars all over the audience, conveniently knocking them out. Dr. Asimov did not calculate on this and tries to run for the exit, but in a cloud of bird smoke appears Pasokan, a computer-themed stripper. Despite his impending death, I think this nerd Dr. A likes it.
He does.
Which would make him a lot like the real Dr. Asimov.
Uh-huh.
We could talk about it.
I was going to ask about that.
Mimete says, "Do it quick, Pasokan!" And the demon grabs Dr. A and holds him up and says, "Suction! Well, why are you taking off your pants?"
Oh my God.
But before Dr. A can end, the Sailor Scouts arrive.
Gosh. Wow.
I was kind of proud of that one. TVG. Sailor Moon says, "How dare you take the heart of an asset to humanity? In the name of the moon, I'll punish you." Mimete says, "You talk too much. Pasokan, take care of them. And wash your hands first."
Oh my God.
Pasokan says, "Right, preemptive attack." And she releases like 24 computer mouses.
Yes.
Mice?
Mice?
Mouses.
Yeah.
That she throws at the Senshi, which in midair become real scary mice.
I know.
Oh no! This soft thing is going to bounce off of me. But the Sailor Senshi are not kidding around in this one. Sailor Mars and Jupiter leap forward, and Mars launches a burning mandala that incinerates the mice, while Jupiter fires a sparkling wide pressure right into Pasokan's torso.
Yes.
I think because it immediately cuts to Sailor Moon, who goes, "You did it!" So we don't really see what happens.
That's
and then
true.
Mercury starts scanning, and she's like, "Oh, she's still out there somewhere. Some missing cells, maybe, or little break in the storytelling here."
Yeah, you're right.
Maybe they ran out of time. With her visor, Mercury detects a giant cloud of mice flying at her.
Yes.
But Venus, love me, chain scatters them. It's a chaotic melee. Mars and Jupiter renew their attack on Pasukun, but the demon throws razor-sharp floppy disks at them, sending them flying. Mimete says, "Hey, I'm here. Charm Buster!" and launches stars at Sailor Moon. Venus and Mercury push her out of the way and take the blast straight on, incapacitating them. Pasukun continues to bombard Mars and Jupiter with 5 1/4 projectiles of death. On stage, her moment come, Mimete reveals a large device with a radar dish on top of it.
Yeah.
She says, "Good work, Pasukun. If we get a pure heart and defeat the Senshi, I'll be back on top. Now finish them off." But before Pasukun can boot up, Tuxedo Mask comes swinging down from the rafters with Chibi in his arms.
Yes.
It's Tuxedo Mask! Chibi yells, "Pink sugar heart attack!" and blasts Pasukun in the face. Ow, 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 ow. The pair land on the stage, and Tuxedo Mask says, "Now, Sailor Moon, we get the CMU to the RMH, and with an error, Pasukun is belated."
Yes.
Super Sailor Moon says, "Give it up, Mimete," as the Sailor Senshi regroup. But Mimete says, "Please. Do you even have the strength? Here's my final weapon, which is electric warp." And she turns the dish of the device on herself, which causes her to digitize and disappear like
Yes.
Tron.
Yeah, I think so.
The
Kinda
Senshi are like, "What's up?"
What's happening?
But they hear the disembodied laughter of Mimete, and she says,
Appearing now on stage, Mimete.
and on the bank of monitors, Mimete appears. She says,
Not only am I bigger, but this device amplifies my power. It feels great. You're lucky to see this. Okay, ready or not.
but then we hear another voice who says, "Wow, you look great, Mimete, but it's not right to steal someone else's work." And in the wings, we see Telu.
Yes.
Mimete says,
Shut up! Don't interfere!
but Telu says, "Do you know why you dial never use that device?" As she holds up a power cord. "If the power cuts out while you're inside, you're trapped forever." Mimete says,
Don't do it! I'll apologize!
and I say, "Get away from that, you bitch!" Telu says, "Goodbye, fool," and yanks the plug, and we see Mimete sucked into a digital netherworld.
Shut up!
As the monitor winks off, the Senshi look agape at Telu as she disappears, and Mercury says, "They're fighting each other?"
Yeah.
Hey,
Let them fight.
Super Sailor Moon collapses in exhaustion, and the other Senshi go to her aid, as we see Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto watching them from the back of the auditorium. Super Sailor Moon fades to just Sailor Moon, as a look of fear and dread crosses her face as tense music plays, because this episode is over.
That's right. A lot happens in this episode. I think you're right. I mean, we just start hitting the ground running with Chibi running, and it just goes until we say goodbye to Mimete. So, yeah.
I can't talk about it yet.
Okay.
I can't talk about it yet. I'm going to talk instead about something I talked about last week, and is perfect to talk about this week.
Okay.
And that is Computer Blue. The fifth track off of his hit album Purple Rain.
Yes.
And it's one example of a weird trend that I'm not sure a lot of people are aware of in Prince songs, which is his constant referencing of computers.
What is up with that, Prince?
I don't know. Is he scared of computers?
I have no idea.
It's not a Jehovah's Witness thing, because this has been a thing for him for a while. Like if you go back to 1999, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's all about. I could imagine it would be about like computers and Skynet, because it's all about nuclear war or like the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
But it starts off with,
Don't worry, I won't hurt you. I only want you to have some fun.
right?
Yes.
And in that, or on that album, he has a song, Something in the Water Does Not Compute, right?
Okay.
Which leads us to Computer Blue, which opens with a skit with Wendy and Lisa talking about if the water is warm enough.
Yeah, you're right.
What's the computers in water? What's the connection?
We don't want to get electrified by
Well, I mean, like, yeah,
computers.
literally, don't take your personal computer in the water. Apple
Thank
Care
you
is
for
not
that
going to take
lesson.
care of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then and other things like I was talking about computer disks before.
Yes.
And 5 and a. This is how like backwards we were in terms of like technology, because now media is measured in like whatever configuration it is, but also like the size. What's the size, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back then it was like, oh, there's a 5 1/4 inch and there's a 3 1/2 inch.
The disc,
Like
the
imperial
floppy
units
disk.
for the size of a disk. That's gonna hold like your data. But
Yeah.
anyway, in Bat Dance, there's a skit where a character says,
Hey, Jackie, let me stick the 7-inch in the computer.
now, that's a double. We like to call that a double entendre.
Yeah.
Sort of naughty little fun time.
Yeah.
But
I think so.
but it's also just like computers and stuff like that. So like, what's going on with Prince?
He's like slyly obsessed with computers.
I bet he had no idea how to use one. Don't you think?
So he's like Zoolander, like
I
the files are
don't think
inside
like
the
comically.
computer.
I don't think comically. I think
Okay.
that he was too cool,
well,
having way too much
clearly.
sex,
Yeah.
and playing too much music. And he could program a drum machine, I think, but that's about it. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? But he's
sure.
also rich enough to hire people to do that stuff for him. He doesn't need to do that.
But maybe he was just like fascinated by all the things,
Sure.
the possibilities that computers could do.
William Gibson, the guy that wrote Neuromancer, and ostensibly the guy who invented or introduced into fiction the term cyberspace,
Yeah.
had no idea how computers worked.
It's so weird to me.
And again, I'm a Star Trek boy, so like in the same way that like Star Trek, depending on how you look at it, gave us flat screen TVs, gave us flip phones, gave us medical
Tablets.
sensing devices and tablets. Cyberspace and the works of William Gibson gave us, like, these nerds in the early days of computers read this stuff, and when it came time for them to program, to design and build computers, that they thought about that kind of stuff. The internet was early on called the Matrix, which was the name of the internet, or the sort of shared cyber data space in his fiction. And so he had no idea how they worked. He wrote all this stuff about like uploading and downloading and stuff. And he thought that like when you opened up like an Apple IIe, there's just like a glowing cube inside, and like that's how it worked. Like he had no idea how they worked.
Yeah, but like he was able to create this world where he could create this fiction that he knew how it worked.
That was believable for
the time.
science fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the things that didn't exist, he kind of created, in that the people who were working with Apple IIes or PET 64s or whatever, when they were thinking about designing and making bigger computers, they were like, well, I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to do it like William Gibson did. And now we've got people, Jesus wept in like VR goggles in cyberspace, and they're doing that.
Well, the daemon in this episode, she's very cyberpunk, I think. That's what I thought when I saw her. I was like, oh, she's a cyberpunk computer lady.
She's like some kind of punk.
Yeah, some kind of punk.
So I don't know if we got the full origin for Dr. G, but kind of.
Kind of.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that Dr. A says that he's, and it's almost, not for nothing. It's possible this universe could be alive.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, interesting. Thanks.
Yes.
Thanks for sharing that.
That was done on purpose.
But anyway, we see something like that in this. It's kind of like, I'm trying to think of what is. I feel like a character dying or a character being hurt and then another character making a sacrifice, that leads to bad things for that character is a trope.
Yeah.
Characters being disfigured by their experiments. I've thought of like Dr. Doom.
Sure.
Also, I don't know if the eye is significant, but, he is kind of, presumably he went from a guy who was researching genetics to a guy who can make people out of bird smoke. And so he has accomplished
Yes.
some of these goals.
Yeah, right.
And it reminds me of the legend of Odin and how he traded one of his eyes for wisdom and the secret to runes, to rune magic.
Interesting.
Runes, of course, are written, forget the Wanda in the MCU, but runes are, written characters and figures.
Yeah.
Letters, if you will. Mm-hmm. Letters like A, G, T, and C.
Mm-hmm.
What are those?
A, G, T, and C? I don't know.
The base pairs that make up our DNA.
Oh.
Genetic research.
Okay, I see.
They are scientific runes, if you will.
Okay. Okay. I
You're
didn't
not
know that.
nearly impressed enough, but that's okay.
I'm sorry. It's very impressive. Oh my goodness.
I don't think the water's warm enough. They name check Asimov in this for some reason. When it's really like Heinlein that like did the multiversal stuff. He has a whole series of books about the cat who walks through walls that is set in like sort of a metafictional universe where the characters like are stories, but they can go to
maybe
other
they
books and
just
stories.
thought that Asimov was the name recognition was more for people who were not even really super science fiction fans than Heinlein. I don't know.
Why
I'm
not
not
like-
saying that one is a better writer than the other. Or
Why not
anything
like H.G.
that.
Wells or something like that?
Yeah.
H.G. Wells, also some of the earliest alternate universe stories. He had a story called novel called Men Like Gods.
I don't know. Were we really set on like him being attracted to a computer lady? That's kind of what I
They
wanted
weren't
to
thinking
know.
about. That's the best kept secret in SF fandom.
I don't know.
Nobody
man.
knows about that.
Well, somebody.
But the
somebody
dozens
knew about
and
that.
dozens of listeners of this show
Yeah.
are going to know today that Isaac Asimov, he's a pinchy guy.
Yeah.
He's real pinchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not great.
It might seem kind of innocent, and I think a lot of people back then just took it as like the toll that you pay to...
Which is not cool.
Yeah, to attend as a female a sci-fi convention is that you're going to get felt up by Isaac Asimov, but it's a real deal with hundreds of people all complaining about it and confirming it.
Yeah.
And so,
It's not cool.
it doesn't mean he wasn't a good writer. Doesn't mean that you can't enjoy his work, but just understand the context. What's the point of anything happening at all ever if we can't learn from any of it
Yeah.
and not put up with it in the future?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I pervert.
That's pretty good.
The 3 laws of reaching up a girl's skirt.
Pervertedness.
All right, let's not
Okay.
mind too much comedy out of it.
No,
So
okay.
anyway, I
All
didn't
right.
come up with anything. I will say, of course, as a comic fan, I have to name check, of course, the famous Flash of Two Worlds story written by Gardner Fox in 1961, which introduced the concept of the multiverse to DC Comics and really to comics at large,
Interesting.
where Barry Allen meets Jay Garrick.
Okay. Okay. Another Flash?
The Flash.
Oh, the Flash.
The Golden Age Flash.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, I'm more familiar with Barry Allen, so that's just me.
Is he the fastest man alive?
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did want to mention that just talking a little bit about the manga, and it's a little different in the manga, but the explosion that happens in Tomoe's lab in the manga, that's what kills his wife, and Hotaru is hurt from that as well.
So my prediction was right in the manga, but not in the show.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll take half a point on that one.
Okay. All right. So there you go.
Is in the manga the Mugen Academy like an evil Westchester school for gifted youngsters? Don't you get kind of an X-Men vibe from the Mugen Academy?
Yeah.
It's like up top it's a school, and then there's like a subterranean bunker where all the experiments and all the lair is.
So in the manga,
Oh my god.
I know, the Witches 5 were students at Mugen Academy as well. So they kind of, I think they're
like the
a
Hellfire
little
Club.
bit older in the anime, it seems like. But yeah. And so they at least posed as students there, and they had student names and everything too. And so, yeah.
The Hellfire Club had their own school, academy, that was, I think, somewhere in New York. Westchester's in New York. I mean, like downtown. And so their X-Men were called the Hellions.
Okay.
And they were sort of like, I don't know. Chris Claremont created a lot of characters for the end. You got to keep things moving. We got a lot of storylines we're never going to resolve.
Yes.
And then eventually they're all killed off.
Oh, okay.
And Emma Frost was the headmistress of the Hellion Academy. And so she felt bad that she got all her students killed.
As she should.
But that was the beginning of her journey towards becoming a good guy. Or an anti-hero.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good at least.
And wrecking a home.
As you do, because that's fun.
When you wreck the Summers home, you're wrecking a lot of things because, of course, both of their children are from the future. So if you wreck this home, it's like, uh-oh, now what? Who's going to lead X-Force?
Yeah, right. Well, it's not like we have a child from the future in this anime at all. Looking at you, little chibi.
Looking at you, writers of Sailor Moon. We've talked about that, right?
I think you did a little bit. Yeah. It was Nako Takeuchi who came up with that.
She must be a comic fan. She has to be.
Well, and I think her editor supposedly maybe gave her the idea, but that's what I've read.
Don't tell me that.
But yeah.
Both of their children are from the future.
Mm-hmm.
Well, technically their son is from the present. Was infected with a disease that can only be cured in the future.
I see.
And so was taken to the future and then later returned as an adult who was older than his dad.
Cool.
Timey-wimey.
Yeah.
And their other daughter is from an alternate future because technically events in this present have ensured that she will never be born.
Oh, great.
And so she's from an alternate future and returns to do something or other and ends up joining the X-Men and then has to decide whether or not to tell her parents, that she is their daughter.
Child.
And if she tells them, will that ensure that she is never born or that she is born?
Right.
And she doesn't have Al to help her.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, Sam, there's a 43% chance that you'll never be born.
Oh, no. Oh, boy.
Look out, it's apocalypse. Yeah.
Your Honor, a courtroom is a crucible. In it we burn away irrelevancies until we are left with a pure product, the truth, for all time.
Oh man, this is so intense. Data's on trial for his life.
I know. This episode, The Measure of a Man, is based on the Supreme Court's Dred Scott decision of 1857.
And every week on Backtracking, we take a look at the real-world events that inspired classic Star Trek episodes. Sorry.
Shut up! Who are you?
We're the hosts of Backtracking. I'm Caliban.
You will both be taken to the brig and from there to the nearest starbase, where you will answer charges for what you have done.
And I'm Gooey Fame.
This is not a game. This is life and death.
You can follow us on Twitter.
Backtracking is available wherever you listen to podcasts.
You go f*** yourself.
Today for Kuro Miru, or Curiously Looking Around, where we talk about elements of Japanese culture within the episode, we're going to talk about personal computers in Japan. Yeah. In 1974 in Japan, SWORD, which is called the Toshiba Personal Computer System Corporation today, announced the SMP-80X series of microcomputers completed with the Intel 8080 processor. In August 1976, NEC Corporation, or Nippon Denki Kabushiki Gaisha, which is a Japanese multinational information technology and electronics corporation, released the TK80 single-board microcomputer that was completed with an 8080 compatible processor. Since the 1950s, NEC has developed mainframes. By 1976, the company had the fourth highest mainframe sales, which was 10.4% in Japan, after IBM, who had 29.6%, Fujitsu, who had 20.1%, and Hitachi 15.8%.
So in the 50s.
Yes.
Okay.
So they've been in computing for a while.
So here's an oldie but a goodie. At some point, Mr. Computer must have come over and said, "Look, you're going to need this."
Yeah, I don't know at what point that was.
Because there's nothing. Because nowadays, like personal computing, electronics, semiconductors, these things are like indivorceable from our idea of Japan.
Yes.
But that has to start somewhere, especially for a company that at first isn't manufacturing these things. There is no Tejas instruments, over there. Like they are just taking what we're giving them. I don't mean we're like just giving them stuff. I mean like ideas, the culture, business practices and things like that.
Sure.
So here's your AMC show, 1950s Don Draper goes over there with a briefcase and a dream, and he's going to tell, these Japanese people who are still putting fires out from the bombs that you guys got to get computers over there. And then at some point, something over there, is going to take over. Like their own businessmen are going to go, this is a good idea. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. And then now they've got, because mainframe computing came long before.
Sure.
Maybe we should explain for younger listeners. What we mean is like the idea of the PC is almost dead itself now. Mm-hmm. Cute little girl on the grass going, "What the computer?"
Oh, stop it. Okay.
But like a personal computer, a computer that you have in your house.
Yes.
That idea is only like 40 years old or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Business machines, that's what the BM and IBM is.
Yeah.
Start talking BM.
Oh my God.
Is computers have always been used for that sort of thing. But like now you're going to have one in your house. And early on, a big struggle was how do we convince people that they need one of these in their house?
Yes.
A lot of people are like, what do I need? What is that even for?
And I think I was going to save this for later, but
you can write letters on it. Pen, paper, scratch. Well, what do I need this for?
Well, and I think very early on, they were marketed very differently. And I think they were built differently, too. It's like, well, you need a processor for work. And for work, they need, accounting things and stuff like that. And this is a business computer for business things. And
this can do so many numbers.
And this is
at
a
time.
home computer for home things. We don't need as much stuff on that.
Well, that's been even before that. And so, so then computers, became like home computers, personal computers. Mm-hmm. And then from there to laptops, which it's just pretty much standard now. I mean, I have a tower because I'm a gamer. That's right. And I play games, but, a lot of people don't even have... If you didn't know me, you wouldn't have access to a tower computer. You wouldn't even own one.
No.
Why would you even have one?
I wouldn't have one.
And there's a lot of people, but you work and you have a computer for work.
Yes.
There's a lot of people that don't even have a laptop. It's just like, I've got an iPad. I've got a phone.
Right.
And so,
exactly.
Yeah. But we're talking about
computing
like
is different.
Classical personal computers here.
I mean, I do want to say that I think that Japan, especially post-war Japan, did have an eye on technology and we're always constantly looking for ways
they were never going to
compete.
Farm. They were never going to produce food in any quantity that anybody would want it.
Right.
Yeah. And so what do we've got? We've got a bunch of resources. We got a bunch of minerals and stuff like that. And so, so computing seemed like it was a good idea.
Yeah, right.
It was a great idea.
Yeah.
It led to a miracle.
Yeah. NEC did not have a presence in the consumer market, and its subsidiary had limited success with consumer products. NEC's information processing group, which developed mainframes and mini computers, had not developed a personal computer because they assumed microprocessors were not suitable for computing as they suffered from a lack of performance and reliability. However, the Electronic Device Sales Division developed the Microprocessor Evaluation Kit TK80, which was sold as an assembly kit to train engineers. But because the cost was only 88,500 yen, or around $885, it was also popular with hobbyists and initiated a microcomputer boom.
Huh.
Toshiba, Hitachi, Fujitsu, and Sharp all released single-board microcomputers after this. Tomio Goto, a developer at NEC of the TK80, observed the rise in popularity of personal computers at the 1977 West Coast Computer Fair in San Francisco. Goto and his section manager, Kazuya Watanabe, decided to develop a personal computer despite criticism from the information processing group. The division only had a small distribution network of electronic parts stores, so they asked New Nippon Electric to sell the personal computers through their consumer distribution network. The Electronic Device Sales Division launched the PC-8 8001 in 1979, and it dominated 40% of the Japanese personal computer market in 1981. So this was a good idea.
This is one of those things where, like, no, people want this.
But we know people want this.
They don't know they want it.
Yeah.
And then you're going to make it, and you're going to tell them that they want it.
Yes.
And they're going to get it.
Yes, right.
It's, the guys at Apple started in their garage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what's his name? Wozniak. And they just, put this computer together.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, we're just going to take on, IBM machines. We're going to take on this and create this thing because people want it.
Yeah,
and
that's
they
right.
ended up being right.
Yes. The Hitachi Basic Master MB6880, Sharp MZ80K, and NEC PC 8001 were called the first big three of the 8-bit generation. In 1983, ASC2 Corporation and Microsoft Japan released MSX, a standardized construction for 8-bit personal computers for home retail. 14 companies in all, many of which were home entertainment companies, such as Matsushita Electronic, now Panasonic, and Sony, released MSX-compatible personal computers. In November 1983, Sony began selling its hit-bit HB55 MSX home computer. There's a lot of letters and numbers and all of this.
Like hit-bit.
Yeah, it's a lot, man.
That's what does a boxer use to exercise? A hit-bit.
Hit-bit. There you go.
Thank you.
The first 16-bit personal computer in Japan was the Multi-16, released by Mitsubishi Electric in December 1981. The Multi-16 utilized Digital Research's CPM-86 as its operating system and utilized an 8088 processor. In October 1982, NEC released the PC-9801. It utilized a 16-bit, now, I don't know how to pronounce this. It's a U, but it's got like a little line in front of it.
It's a Greek letter. It's the letter mu.
Okay,
and it means
letter
a millionth.
Okay.
So like, that mu M is mu M.
Mu M
is a cow saying it wants some more. No, it means like a million of something. It's like a million bits or bytes or whatever.
Okay. So this Moo PD 8086 processor or 8086.
Moo PD is like when a cow's on the run.
Moo PD.
Get in the tractor and track him down.
Yeah.
Wait, does a cow drive a tractor?
Where does he put the siren?
Yeah. Well, he's got a horn. We know that.
Oh, well, that's true.
All cows are bastards.
So it's 8086 compatible.
All cows are beef.
Oh my God, no. Wow. The MS-DOS operating system and Moo PD 7220 LSI for graphic processing. I feel like you need to make this art for the show for us. So anyways,
bad cows, what you gonna do when they come for Moo?
The NEC development team initially planned for the new personal computer to be a small version of the business computer line, which originated from the 1973 NEAC System 100. So here, again, we have a clear differential between business and the personal computer.
Yeah.
Kazuyo Watanabe, one of the guys from before, stated that the personal computer must have Microsoft Basic, considered compatibility of peripheral devices with previous NEC PCs, and disclose specifications of its expansion slot. In September 1981, Shunzo Hamada, who worked in the Information Processing Small Systems Division at NEC, requested ASC2's Kazuhiko Nishi rewrite 988 Basic to run on the Intel 8086 processor, and Nishi replied saying that he wanted to talk with Bill Gates. 3 months later, Nishi rejected Hamada's request because Microsoft was busy with the development of GW Basic, and they did not want to produce more variants of Microsoft Basic.
Hey, we didn't get rich by letting people tell us what to do.
That's right. In February 1982, the software development team started reverse engineering N88 Basic and designing N88 Basic in parentheses 86. Yeah. After the team finished in March 1982, they started the development of the PC 9801 named N10 project. A PC 9801 prototype was completed at the end of July 1982, and the code of N88 Basic in parentheses 86 was written completely from scratch, but Nishi pointed out that, the bytecodes matched Microsoft's. It was unclear if the copyright law would apply to the bytecode.
Get on a boat and come sue me.
Nishi suggested to Hamada that NEC must have purchased the same amount of Microsoft's product as it corresponded to the license fee, and N88 Basic in parentheses 86 must show copyright notification for both Microsoft and NEC. Hamada approved it.
It was Wild Westy back then, you know, and over the years, while developing all these things, you know, they locked down more and more what you can really get away with, to the point now where like individual lines of code are like trademarked and copyrighted, you know, so they can find anything that you might have used of theirs in your software. But, you know, back then it was just sort of like, yeah, there's a language and like a code, and you put your own stuff on and go, well, this is my thing.
We did our own thing.
This
and
is
like,
basic
well,
too.
It's
like,
basically,
all right, I
guess.
Yeah, you can't get away with anything anymore.
No. The PC 9800 series, or the PC Kyusen Hapyaku Shirizu in Japanese, is commonly shortened to PC 98, or Kyuhachi, which means 98 in Japanese, is a lineup of Japanese 16-bit and 32-bit personal computers manufactured by NEC from 1982 to 2000. The platform established NEC's dominance in the Japanese personal computer market, and by 1999, more than 18 million units had been sold.
Wow. How do you say Y2K in Japanese?
Yeah. Actually, I think, you know what really killed it was Windows 95. Mm-hmm. Or, you know, because it was, it kind of made the computing, people wanted the Windows on their computers, and it worked with their computers, but like it just, for whatever reason, it just kind of fell apart. Yeah. You know.
Yeah,
so,
Windows 95 was a big upgrade.
Yeah.
You know, true multitasking.
People wanted that.
Cool grass, sky background. You know,
you got to get that sky grass background.
File names that are more than 8 characters. Yeah, they're giving you everything you wanted.
Yeah, I know. So, but while NEC did not market these specific machines in the West, it sold the NEC APC-3, which had similar hardware as early PC-98 models. The PC-98 initially released as a business-oriented personal computer, which had backward compatibility with successful PC 8800 series. The range of the series has expanded, and in the 1990s, it was used in a variety of industry fields, including education and hobbies. NEC succeeded in attracting third-party suppliers and a wide range of users, and the PC-98 dominated the Japanese PC market with more than 60% by 1991. So that's pretty early. IBM clones lacked graphics capabilities to handle complex Japanese writing systems.
Right.
Which is one reason why the graphics were better on Japanese computers because they had to be.
Right. If you can't get by with just the ASCII characters and
Right.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. In addition, Japanese computer manufacturers marketed personal computers that were based on each proprietary architecture for the domestic market. Global PC manufacturers, with the exception of Apple, had failed to overcome the language barrier, and the Japanese PC market was isolated from the global market. So that was another reason why NEC was able to dominate the Japanese market for so long.
Yeah.
In the mid-'80s, simulation games were the most popular genre for PC 90H, which took advantage of higher clock speed and larger memory reserves. Daisen Raku series and the Romance of the Three Kingdoms series were particularly popular, and they established PC 98 as a PC game platform. Towards the end of the 1980s, the Japanese PC game platform slowly shifted from PC 88 to PC 98 as the X68000 and the FM Towns also had a niche market. In the 1990s, many computer role-playing games were developed for the PC 98 or imported from other platforms, such as Brandish, Dungeon Master, and the Alone in the Dark series. The higher display resolution and the higher storage capability allowed better graphics, but because of the PC 98's lack of hardware sprites, most of the games made for the system were slow-paced. As a result of this limitation, adult dating sims and visual novels appeared as a revival of 1980s adventure games and gained popularity, such as Doku Yusei and Yuno. After the PC 98 declined, many Japanese PC game developers shifted the game platform to video game consoles, except for Eroge, which is a Japanese genre of erotic video games and is distributed by computer stores. A key difference between early Western and Japanese systems was the latter's higher display resolutions, 640 by 200 from 1979 and 640 by 400 from 1985 in order to accommodate Japanese text, as I was saying before.
Yeah.
Japanese computers also from the early 1980s employed Yamaha FM synthesis soundboards, which produce higher quality sound. Japanese computers were widely used to produce video games, though only a small portion of Japanese PC games were released outside of the country. And according to Statista, which is an online statistics app, in 2021, 69.8% of Japanese households owned personal computers compared to 81.7% in 2013. So it's going down.
Going down.
Yeah. But it's not steadily going down. It kind of stays in that range.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Over the last 10 years.
Yeah. Translation. What's a computer?
Yeah, I don't know if people...
Samurai sword cuts that off.
I don't know if people consider an iPad to be a computer or not. And like who is responding to these polls, you know?
Well, and anybody who, this little girl doesn't have a job. Anybody who goes into a job has a computer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you have a computer at your desk, whether it's a Dell Tower computer or it's a laptop that you plug into a station or something like that. Like nobody... Sure, if you work in a design firm or something like that, or PR or something where you don't need a lot of computing power, maybe you just have an iPad or an office tablet or something like that. But I mean, let's face it, anybody that sits at a desk has a business machine. That's why companies like Microsoft with Windows take so long they have so much inertia and they take so long to push into new realms is because they don't care about any of these markets. And they let the Japanese market just run itself for a while and didn't bother to interfere because they didn't want to upgrade their graphical processors to be able to handle all the characters they needed.
Right.
They're like, frankly, it's a business we can do without.
Right.
And so, so another company
just
has the run of the whole Pacific Rim for that reason until it's finally like, okay, let's go take over Japan.
Right. And I had actually never heard of NEC before. I started doing research for this show, which is kind of surprising considering how much they dominated, just personal computers for so long.
Yeah.
When I was did my homestays, both of my host families had at least one computer at home. But I think one was like a tower computer and one was like a laptop. And I don't think that I think it was kind of like the family computer for both of them. Like, I don't think everybody had their own computer or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All my eroge is in this one folder. Don't open that.
Yeah. Well, and I did have kind of like a sense of like, here you can write an email home on this, but I also had this sense of like, don't spend forever on here. You don't just go searching on the internet. Nobody told me this, but I'm not like, okay, I'm only going to use this to write home. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
I'm not going to just like, let's just search the internet. Boop, boop, bop, boop, beep.
Come on, Lycos.
Yes. Itadakimasu with Usagi. What did Usagi eat in this episode? Setsuna is served a cola while she is at whoever's place is at. If it's at Mako's or Mamoru's, I'm not really sure.
Does Mamoru have cola?
I don't know.
Does he like a cola?
I could see him being a cola guy.
I'm trying to, remember way at the beginning of the season when Mamoru was studying genetic researching textbooks.
Yes. Wow.
Vindication.
Yeah.
And he was eating Usagi's burned cookies.
Yes.
Remember what that place looked like?
I swear it looks the same.
You might be right. I feel like I remember,
I don't know.
but he doesn't have horizontal blinds, though. Perish the thought. He's probably got cool vertical blinds.
I mean, he probably has vertical blinds.
I'll have to look back. But
I don't know.
Whoever, yeah. Give her
it's
a soda.
It's not very clear.
We're all having coffee. She'll have a soda.
That's right.
There is no coffee in the year 3000 after the cough-pocalypse.
What is this stuff? I don't drink it. That's right. Villain gauge, we rate a baddie 1 to 5 dark stars, 5 being the most wicked. The daemon in this episode is named Pasakon. So the daemon's name is a reference to Pasakon, which is an abbreviation of the English term for personal computer. The full term for personal computer in Japanese is Pasanaru Computer.
Whoa.
So
okay.
Pasukon gets the job done.
Yeah.
They like doing that, just shortening the words.
Yeah, right.
And her design, she is, like I said, like a cyberpunk girl from the 90s or 80s. She has, probably more the 80s. She has pink skin, pointy ears, orange eyes, and blue lipstick, computer blue. She has a bluish-green, shaggy mullet haircut. She is wearing a headpiece, microphone, black goggles, and a white choker. She has 2 computer mice, 1 on each shoulder, which is a really nice touch. She is wearing black gloves, a short one on her right hand and a long one on her left.
Yes.
And her boots are mimicked. Like there's a long, like thigh-high boot on one leg, and that's the leg that is paired with the short glove.
Right.
And then an ankle boot on the other leg.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Her leotard is a personal computer monitor that has that's base fans out into, it looks almost like a small skirt with black bikini underwear. She's also there is also a black cord that connects from the back of the monitor to the back of her choker. It's really weird. But we are not in a wireless future here.
No one could have predicted that.
Yeah, exactly. So, now we are up to our rating. I really like her look, and apparently so does Professor Asimov. I think it's really cool to have a cyberpunk lady have the torso of a computer and have mice for shoulder pads. And I like that she threw a bunch of computer mice and they turned into a group of really big, gross animal mice.
No, but like a computer mouse is hard.
I
It
know.
can like hit you.
That's true.
Ow.
And it would hurt.
If you just throw a mice at somebody, you got a mad person and a mad mouse.
That's true. Although they would have like nasty little teeth.
I feel that little mouse bites.
Yeah. And they look more like rats than mice, but I get the idea.
Ooh, here's an idea for a product.
What?
Is a mouse too small for you? Oh, my big hands. Try the rat.
The rat. Oh.
The new Logitech Rat.
Oh, I hate it. It makes me squirm and
ribbed
itch.
cord.
Oh no!
It's a
for its tail.
pink ribbed cord.
Oh my god, that's disgusting.
All right.
But she seems pretty powerful. I like that her goggles helped her aim the rodents and figure out where to attack the Senshi. I would have liked to seen her do other attacks, and overall, I think she was pretty strong. So I'm gonna give her 4 out of 5 dark stars.
Yeah. Me too. 4 out of 5.
Okay.
I don't know what would have got her to 5. Maybe more time spent with her.
More time.
A little more personality. I feel like just making computer sounds. Oh, I got an error. You know, it's like we've gone a little deeper into her idiom. But other than that, yeah, like it. You know, this is firmly in the 90s idea of a computer hacker or something. I mean,
yes.
The goggles alone.
I know.
If she didn't have goggles, it would have been a 0. Maybe if the gloves had been fingerless, that would have been okay.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried about her because, like, it's not like she's... I mean, maybe she is. Maybe she's wearing a hollowed out monitor. But in that case, she should have, like, a picture of a torso on it or something like that. I think her boobs
body.
are only... I think she only has tops of boobs that just merge into this monitor that is her body. You know what I mean? Like, it's... I feel, you know... But, I mean, she has no life. She just does what she does.
Yes.
So I'm not going to worry about the quality of her life. And she disappears and turns into... I guess we never see it close up. It must be a full computer.
I think
it's not a laptop.
It's a monitor, right? It's
There's
like
a keyboard,
giant monitor,
but it's
and
all
a
stuck
keyboard.
together somehow.
Yeah.
So I didn't have any NEC back in the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, good style. You know, her green ponytail. Yeah, we'll do it.
All right.
Unless you were gonna like. No, they're all sexy ladies. If you somehow made her like a female computer nerd, where instead of like goggles, she's got like glasses, and maybe she throws razor sharp pens from her pocket protector. But they didn't lean into no. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I would have my Yoma would be way worse. They leaned into something cool, and I'd give them a 4.
All right. Farewell, my lovely, where we rate the way they go out. Her goggles are down as she gets up. She knows that she is staring death in the face. She says, "Error," as if death coming doesn't compute. She screams and says, "Love, lovely," as she puts her arms over her chest. So I'm going to give her 4 out of 5.
I am going to give her a 3.
Okay.
Because, again, this is pretty bog standard.
It is.
Didn't do anything wrong, but didn't really do anything that blew me away. And it's not like her, her mice popped off or something like that, or something else. Like at this point, I feel like the show too is just going. I came up with this bit, and we have to just keep doing it. Got to do it 30 something times.
I know.
And I'm like, I would give you a 2 show. You come up with the bit, you better have something for everybody. But instead, they all kind of do the same thing. She goes, "Error," and then just kind of does her thing. So it's not her fault. It's average. It's a 3.
Okay. I think that's fair.
Yeah. Should I have her eyes blue screen or something? Well, there you go. On her little screen, her chest screen, like she's, boom, gets an error message, a little bomb icon.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Right. But we didn't get that.
No, we didn't get that.
I'm back. I'm back, designers. Now I get a 3 again. Go ahead.
I think we also have to rate Mimete.
No.
I know. This is a little bit of trivia. This is the last episode where we see Mimete.
No, she's not dead.
Well,
she's in that computer still.
She's not dead. She's in that computer still.
She's in the computer.
Yeah.
She's in the computer.
She's in the computer.
So simple. Some janitor will be like, "Oh, that was crazy. Well, we gotta presentation tomorrow. Plug this in.
Plug this in.
Oh my God.
Get me out of here. Shut up.
All right. So knowing that she's not really dead, I'm willing to rate her.
Okay. Great. I think that Mimete has a lot of personality and she's got a lot of spunk and a lot of pizzazz. Clearly she has her thing where she basically just wants to attack hot guys, and it's a weird thing because it's like she like is like dominating them and capturing their pure hearts, but it's almost like she's like keeping them and they're hers forever, and it's really kind of weird when you think about it. But it's a way to go at it, and I respect it. And she's got a lot of sass. She knows what she wants. And she, but she did use Udile's like machine, and I gotta give it to Telu. Like, you really shouldn't use other people's things, other people's designs, and especially if you don't know what all the risks are going at it. But that being said, I'm really gonna miss Mimete, even though I'm still pissed that she killed Udile. I'm still pissed about that. So I'm gonna give her 5 out of 5 stars.
It could only be 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Dark stars.
Yeah.
The only thing it could be.
Mm-hmm.
She killed somebody for not doing her job, and then proceeded to not do her job.
Yes.
For over a dozen episodes. Like,
yes.
She has so much personality, perhaps the most personality that we've seen in a villain.
Mm-hmm.
She has an interesting kink, which is needing to be in love with the men that she's going to kill.
Yes.
Like a Black Widow.
It's weird.
Like a reverse Black Widow. They don't have to love her. She has to love them.
Yes, you're right.
This is getting weirder and weirder. She's got a great sense of style. She knows when to whip it out. And she bosses her Yelmas around, and she's getting the work done, and she's just like planning, you know, I'm a good person. Nobody's ever said anything bad about me. Dead coworker picture in the background.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, she's just great. She's ambitious. She has no idea how to realize her ambitions.
Mm-hmm.
We are all Mimete.
Aww.
Really.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that she's got to be my favorite so far, period.
Oh, really?
So I gotta give her 5.
Yeah.
5 out of 5 dark stars. She's telling God to shut up right now in heaven.
Shut up! And now we are up to our rating. I like that Mamo can read how incredibly furious Chibiusa was, even when Usagi was oblivious to it, and he intervened and basically told her to let her be. I like how much Chibiusa is fighting for Hotaru and begs Pluto not to kill her. I like how Usagi says, "Isn't she a Sailor Guardian like us?" and asks if there's another way, and Pluto says, "This is why we didn't want to get you involved."
Yeah.
It's just so cold. I like how Mimete impersonates Dr. Giggles in order to implement her own plan and stops Telu from working. I like that Mimete zapped the security guard and said, "My back's against the wall. Don't get in my way." That was great. I like that the unnamed monster in the flashback offers to save Hotaru, and Dr. Giggles says that he doesn't care about himself as long as Hotaru is okay. And I like how Telu shows up and tells Mimete that it isn't right to steal someone else's work and just pulls the plug. This was a pretty enjoyable episode, and a lot happens in it. I really struggled with what I was going to give it, but I think I'm going to give it, I guess I'm feeling generous, I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 roses.
Huh. Well, not a clean sweep, but I too am going to give it 5 out of 5. And I too am feeling a little generous. Maybe I'm getting soft in my old age as a noob. I'm not sure that it fully qualifies for 5. In fact, it has aspects that I have criticized and not given a 5 for before. like a heavy exposition dump. Although this is stuff that we have wanted to hear this entire time.
Yes.
I think that the sort of deal with the devil aspect that Tomoe has made is very interesting, although it does feed back, and we didn't, I guess the audience will have to check for themselves if I was right about my guesses or not, but I have said in the past that it kind of tends like the bad guys very often are not actually bad, or they're manipulated or they're misunderstood, and once again, it seems like we have a situation similar to that. Now, he might go down as evil and one-eyed as he's ever been, but we do have a character who, was corrupted apparently by something. I don't know if he is dead inside, or Hotaru is dead, or how this thing is using their bodies. I presume that we will learn eventually. But now we've got a situation where, he's a Mr. Freeze character. He's only doing this to
save
his loved one. He's certainly taking a lot of glee in it, whether that's him or the light. Or whatever it is that's influencing him. I don't know. But those are all interesting questions. Even while we are doing business and we're just getting business out of the way, we got to move this thing forward. We got to set the new status quo and set things up and kill Mimete and introduce somebody new. The show is still taking the opportunity to put little character bits in, to have people be true to their idioms and their characters. We get a fight scene that had that weird blip in it, but otherwise people are actually doing things. They are setting things up. They are fulfilling their own personal particular roles with what they do, even down to not doing anything other than going beep beep over there.
It's something though.
I can make ice walls and freeze things and people, but no, I just beep beep, look out. All culminating, of course, in the amazing save by Tuxedo Mask holding Chibiu's shooting on the fly into the Yoma's face, and then going, oh no, and falling down. No, it's Sailor Moon. So everybody works together, does their bit. The outer is just standing there going, yeah, all right.
I know.
So everybody is just doing exactly what they're supposed to do, firing on all cylinders. You got to give it a 5.
All right. My English title is Mysterious School, Mysteries Full Family.
Mysteries Full Family?
Like the family is full of mysteries.
Mysteries Full Family.
I don't know. Sometimes my English gets a little Englishy.
Pretty Englishy. Pretty Englishy. Englishy? I think it works. I think it's good. My title is, look, sometimes the classics work best. Talked before about the personal computer and about Prince. And so there's really only one title that we could give this. Computer Blues.
Aww, I love it. Next episode, we are talking about episode number 121. Kokoro o Ubao Yoka. Daisan no Majo Teruru in Japanese. A heart-snatching demon flower. Talu, the third witch. The English translation and the English title, Fiendish Ferns.
Fiendish Ferns. Can't wait to see what that's all about.
Yeah.
Probably a plant-based demon.
Probably.
What if Tomoe's down to his shelves are bare, there's nothing on the table, and he's just like, throw this plant in there. Next demon. Oh, I'm Yu Shusaka. She's like a tennis shoe.
We already had that. She had a tennis shoe as a boob.
Yeah, but this is just like just a plimsoll, and he's got one shoe, and he's like, Usakadu? He's running out of things. If you get down to boxer shorts, we're in trouble.
You're right, we are.
There's a naked professor somewhere.
And that's a weird daemon. I don't know if I want to run into that daemon.
That'd be an interesting piece of art to share, which we could share on our Instagram or our Twitter, or maybe even on our Facebook, our social medias. And if you're not following us on social media, gosh, I wish you would.
I wish you would too.
You go and search for Sailor Noob. We're probably at either Noob_Sailor or at Sailor Noob on your Instagram, your Twitter, your Facebook, places like that. I want to mention that we have a Discord, which you can find by going to the link in our show notes. Join us on Discord. You don't have to be a member of the Patreon or anything. Everybody's welcome. We talk about Sailor Moon and had some interesting topics recently. Sometimes we talk more about the topics that we talk talk about on the show.
Yes.
A lot of interesting input from some of our listeners and their interesting perspectives. And it's not just serious stuff like that. We can talk about whatever. We didn't end up talking about Sonic 2. Maybe we'll start a Sonic 2 conversation. I have Sonic 2 thoughts.
You have
Hashtag Sonic 2 thoughts.
Hashtag Sonic 2 thoughts.
Just 2 thoughts. On Sonic
Just 2
2
thoughts about Sonic 2.
that I'm going to share. And so join us there. We'd love to have you. If you do want to become a patron, you can do that by going to patreon.com/Sailor Noob. Sign up to become a Senshi today. Get access to our extra content. And if that's too rich for your blood and you think we're doing a good job, why not leave a tip in the jar? Buy us a coffee at coffee, that's ko-fi.com, and search for Just Enough Trope and put some money in the tip jar. We'd really appreciate it.
I just wanted to give everybody a quick reminder that we will be, due to our new schedule, we will be off next week. And we will be back on the following week.
Yep, we'll be off next week, but we will be back on August 5th with more Sailor Noob goodness. If you're jonesing for more Sailor Noob, what a great time to go check out the Patreon.
Yes.
Check out the outtakes from some of our shows. Check out some of our other podcasts that we've got there. But otherwise, we'll see you on August 5th.
Well, that's our show for this week. In the name of the moon, we'll be punishing you in 2 weeks with another episode of Sailor Noob.
Shut up!